This is the home of one forest creature that has lived here in the Congo for 44 million years. Picathartes. These birds mate for life, and the male reaffirms the bond by displaying to the female. They're building a mud nest on the underside of the boulder's overhang, where it'll be protected from the rain. The female takes the lead. The male doesn't seem quite so skillful. Oh dear. Luckily, she can put things right. Now she's collecting the soft furnishings. He's brought some too, but he still can't get it right. In the end, the female seems satisfied with the finish, and just in time. It might look as if he has been banished into the rain, but in fact, they're a great team. They share the incubation, 12 hours on, 12 hours off, for the next 3 weeks. In due course, there are mouths to feed, and now the male must prove his worth. Worms are a good start, and he's doing well. But the chicks are insatiable. Fortunately, other things are on the menu. He might be a poor nest builder, but he is redeeming himself now. If undisturbed, wildebeest can drink 8 litres in a single session. As his confidence builds, he is oblivious to what lurks beneath the surface. The herd is bewildered. Some have never seen a crocodile before. Even as the full horror unfurls, there is great confusion about just what is going on. And that was just the first attack. 300 hungry crocodiles live in the Grumeti River. Wildebeest react differently to crocodiles and other predators. Even the adults seem unsure of just how much danger they're in. The calf's desire to quench his thirst overcomes any fear he may have. The crocodiles maneuver around them with surprising ease. They are intelligent hunters, plotting their attack with precision. A strike can happen at any time. Despite the carnage, the mother and calf survive. They stampede back onto the plains. For the baboons, it's more like a spectator sport. They might as well settle down. A single croc can take some time to overpower its victim. But crocodiles are cooperative feeders. They work together. The death roll breaks the prey into bite-sized chunks. But aggression can spill over.
By late summer, the corral tanks contain the only standing water for kilometers around. The canyon's more mobile insects are drawn to this one last oasis. For those able to travel, this water is a lifesaver. Bees and wasps can carry the water back to their distant nests. But this tiny pool of water lies just beyond the boundary of the corral colony's territory. With no end in sight, such desperate times call for desperate measures. As the search widens, a small group of corral workers head towards the trough. This is unfamiliar ground for them, and they are heading toward disaster. Near the trough, they stumble across other honey ants, and then a nest entrance. It's only 40 meters from the corral colony, but that's been enough to keep these two nests in mutual ignorance for all these years. These new honey ants are unlike any the corral workers have encountered before. They are big and aggressive. Instead of backing down, they meet the challenge head-on, and the encounter begins to escalate. For the first time in its history, the corral colony may have met its match. Sensing the worst, the corral workers begin to fall back towards their own nest. The trough workers go on the offensive. The retreat quickly turns into a rout. Stragglers are picked off. The fight is carried right to the entrance of the corral colony. Even here on their own doorstep, they can't hold their ground. The attacking trough workers drive on into the nest. As news of the attack reaches the corral queen, she withdraws to the deepest chambers, her entourage of nurses in tow, carrying the valuable brood. The battle spreads down into the tunnels. Slowly, inexorably, it spreads down through the shafts towards the deeper part of the nest. The repletes are slaughtered, or dragged away to be eaten later. Some dead workers are carried off for processing. The invaders take everything from eggs to newborns. Many are eaten where they fall. They empty chamber after chamber. Finally, the invaders overcome the last resistance and break through into the royal bunker. The corral queen and her broods are trapped and completely helpless. Held by each leg, the queen is on the rack, first stretched, then dismembered. It is a gruesome and ignominious end for this once great ruler. In just a few hours, the corral colony has been annihilated. The nest emptied. Too late for the corral colony. The drought finally breaks.
Markhor gather for their annual rut. Males must fight for the right to breed, but on these sheer cliffs, any slip by either animal could be fatal. snow leopard, the rarest of Himalayan animals. It's a female returning to her lair. These are the first intimate images of snow leopard ever filmed in the wild. She greets her one-year-old cub. Her den is well chosen. It has exceptional views of the surrounding cliffs. On these treacherous slopes, no hunter other than a snow leopard would have a chance of catching such agile prey. A female with young makes an easier target. Her large paws give an excellent grip, and that long tail helps her balance. Silently, she positions herself above her prey. The drongo is the Kalahari's greatest trickster. And these are his victims. A family of meerkats, desert specialists. After warming up in the morning sun, the meerkats begin their search for breakfast. The drongo can now begin his tricks. But he must first win the confidence of his victims. He spots an eagle on the hunt and sounds a warning. One that sends the meerkats gratefully scurrying to safety. Danger over. And now he has their trust. He sounds another warning. But this time it's a false alarm. Thank you very much. The meerkats fell for it. This all seems too easy. He tries the same trick again. But the meerkats aren't stupid. They'll only fall for it once. The juicy scorpion won't be for him. Then, suddenly, the sound of a sentry's warning. No meerkat can ignore that. Sentries never lie. But the sentry sees no danger. Guess who? Of course, it's the drongo. He's learned to mimic the meerkat's own warning call. And now he can enjoy his prize. A gang of meerkats, outsmarted by a bird. The father leads one team. The mother intercepts a panicking elk. They all share the spoils. But all is not quite as collaborative as it seems. This pack strategy works well for the alpha couple, but not quite so well for last year's offspring. The youngsters could have their own pups, but for the alpha couple, that would mean more mouths to feed and less for their litter. So the alpha couple will actively discourage last year's offspring from mating, but one of their daughters has other ideas. Skulking behind the pack is a lone male wolf. He has no territory of his own, but follows the family, scavenging leftovers and looking for opportunities. He spotted one, the young daughter. The intruder could be in with a chance, as long as he's not caught. The pack leader could kill him. While the pack is distracted by a bison, the temptation for the young female is too great, and she sneaks away to join the mysterious stranger. It's risky, but it could be her only chance to get close to a potential mate. When mating, wolves lock together, unable to separate, for half an hour to ensure fertilization. Not so good if you're about to be caught by your dad. The affair was always destined to be a short one. After a painful separation, her new mate is chased away with his tail between his legs.
Gulf Grunion scout the beach. Then, in their hundreds, females surf in on the waves, shadowed by eager males. They are here to spawn. But it's not going to be easy. Each female tries to propel herself as high up the beach as she can, to lay just beyond the reach of the waves. Drilling herself into the sand is the cue for the male Granian to move in. They wrap themselves around her, jostling to fertilize the eggs. In the frenzy, many eggs are dislodged. Once flicked out of the sand, they won't survive. Although these fish out of water might seem vulnerable, the mass of flickering bodies confuses predators. The greatest danger comes as they wriggle back to sea. This is the moment the pelicans have been waiting for. Slightly deeper water means they can get their bills underneath to scoop out their victims. This female runs the gauntlet and makes it through. Her eggs will develop quickly in the warm desert sand and be ready to hatch in 2 weeks on the next spring tide.
Every lake and river has a resident population of hippos. They too are social creatures, but they are also territorial. Spy Hippo is going where few others dare to go. He needs to be cautious. His subjects are notoriously bad-tempered, and they could be anywhere. It's never a good idea to get on their wrong side. Spy Hippo has been given a warning. He must avoid sudden movements. As he gets closer, ear wiggling shows confidence. Facing one of Africa's most dangerous animals, spy hippo must hold his ground. The pod is made up of females looked over by a single male. Fortunately, females are less aggressive. Spy hippo is already capturing some of the closest views that have ever been seen. But hippos spend much of their time below the surface. As the hippos dive, so must spy hippo. He mimics their movements. Rather than swim, hippos walk underwater. Through the murk, spy hippo glimpses an extraordinary sight. Fish are shadowing the hippo's every move. These are barbs. They usually feed on the riverbed, but when the hippos appear, they shoal around them. As spy hippo moves closer, it's clear that their skin is a maze of cuts and scratches. These fight marks easily become infected, and parasites can also invade. This is where the fish come in. Together, they set up an underwater clinic with the hippos as willing patients. The barbs may be skin specialists, but they'll try a bit of dental hygiene too. After having a full body treatment, the hippos seem to enter a trance.
A carcass will attract every big predator for miles around. A male Majungasaurus attracted to the feast. It is more than capable of challenging for the carcass. Majungasaurus has short arms and can't grasp. Like tyrannosaurs, it's all about the bite. The shape of Majungasaurus' skull and teeth suggests a very different biting style to the flesh-tearing dinosaurs. With a broad, short and muscular skull, it was a dino better adapted to biting and gripping rather than slashing its prey. This fight is about more than just winning the feeding rights to a carcass. When the bite marks on the mauled Majungasaurus remains were studied more closely, the marks on the bones were found to match the only large carnivore in the region. There is no bigger killer in these lands than Majungasaurus. This is the first irrefutable evidence of dinosaur cannibalism. It might seem shocking, but it's a behavior that clearly shows the most successful killers will exploit any situation to their maximum advantage. Hunting on land, Spinosaurus is also forced into direct competition with any large predators living in the same environment. And here, that can only mean one animal. Carcharodontosaurus. Contests over carcasses are common. But outcomes of such fights are far from guaranteed. Risk of injury for big animals is acute. Modern Komodo dragons are often killed in fights over carcasses. More than 3 meters longer, Spinosaurus has size and power on its side. But Carcharodontosaurus has the more lethal bite. This time the Spinosaurus triumphed. But the balance of power between these two deadly killers is a precarious one. In 2008, a Spinosaurus vertebra was recovered. Part of the tall neural spine of the bone was broken off. It appeared to have been bitten in half. It's been suggested that the bite was inflicted by Carcharodontosaurus. Spinosaurus was the last and the largest of the fish-eating dinosaurs. But ultimately these specialists were doomed. Something way beyond their control caused their downfall. 94 million years ago, the climate changed. Global sea levels began to rise. The swamps and rivers that Spinosaurus thrived in gradually were lost. With their loss, Spinosaurus's specialism became a vulnerability. And the biggest predator ever known to have walked the earth disappeared.